David Carr, the NFL Network analyst, former NFL quarterback. You can follow him on Twitter at dcarr8. David, thanks for joining us. What did you think of last night's game?
Dan, I mean, it was what we kind of expected. But before we get to that, I think sometimes our birthdays lose a little bit of magic as we get older, and I wanted to make sure that, Paulie just gets acknowledged for having a birthday, because I know that is sometimes it can be a source of frustration and depression when people don't acknowledge the birthday. So happy birthday, Paulie. But
Paulie, you have something to say? Hold on, David. Paulie has something to say. What?
Thanks, David. You're back to being my favorite Carr brother again. It was Derek for a long time, and you're back.
Okay. All right.
Thanks, man.
Okay.
I appreciate that. I hope you have a happy birthday, buddy. But, yeah, so you look at that game, and Christian McCaffrey obviously is the center point of that offense. And I was doing our show last night with LaDainian Tomlinson, great running back. He was also the center point of an offense. And I was talking to him as Christian left that game. I said, that's got to be really difficult, because Joe Brady's offensive system is so geared to getting him, Christian, in position to make plays in the run game, in the passing game, and then now he's all of a sudden gone. You're going to look like maybe you're not really hitting your stride against a team that you should probably be handling. So I think that was a lot of the offensive issues. They're just trying to make something work. DJ Moore, a good player. Sam Darnold, I love what they're doing with him. Matt Rule, I've known Matt Rule since he was an assistant offensive line coach in New York, and Matt has touched every base. Like, he has his hand in the offensive line, in the defense. He knows what gives each position group trouble, and I think that's what's so brilliant just about what they're doing on the defensive side, is they're basically running a college scheme, a 3-3-5. I was talking to Derek about this, this summer. I was like, who's the most difficult defense schematically? He's like, the Panthers. They just create so many different issues from a schematic standpoint. And you watch them against the Saints last week. They ran the same blitz 3 plays in a row against Sean Payton's offense and Jameis Winston, who's a veteran quarterback, and they got home every time. And it's not just scheme, it's the personnel up front. So when I look at the Panthers, it's like you don't really expect a lot out of them, but until you really dig into it and you look at each position group and how they're kind of put together, and you can't help but get excited for that team. Even without Christian, he'll come back. That hamstring hopefully won't be something that lingers all year. He'll come back in there. I think they'll be able to hold down the fort. I just like what they do schematic. They like how they're put together. I'm really happy for Sam. I think he's a good player, and they're doing what he does well. I mean, you watch him on the run and making plays after the fact. That's almost when he's at his best. So I'm excited to watch them play.
But I wonder what they do with Christian McCaffrey as we move forward. He got paid. You want to use him, but then you also know that there's this fine line of how much we use him. Are we overusing him? You almost have to manage somebody that is one of your highest paid players.
Yeah, I agree. And it is a situation where in Christian's case, he's not going to come out. I remember him a couple of years ago saying that he wanted to be in on every snap on offense. And it's like, man, I know that you love the game, but dude, you're not going to make it. And I even heard him talking in our pregame about how he has to take less hits. He has to find a way to avoid contact a little bit. So as you start to get a little bit older, you understand that, yeah, I do have to kind of conserve the body. And you hope that a coaching staff would do that for you. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is there. I know that you just look at the running back position, and these guys are they're overworked. And you get a guy like Le'Veon Bell, who's basically just standing on the sideline for a team right now, who is probably one of the best running backs 2-3 years ago. You can go through the list. You can Todd Gurley, Zeke Elliott is getting his role diminished in Dallas. The shelf life just isn't very long. So what do? Do you just go full out? Let me give it everything I got. If I kind of put yourself on a pitch count, or you let the team do it, do you get maybe another year out of it? I'm almost to the point where it's like, let's just max out his ability. Let's see what he can do. And then when it's over, it's over. But it's a rough world for running backs. But, man, that's just kind of the world we live in.
Yeah, but that's what I would do, David. If I'm taking a running back in the first round, first of all, I wouldn't. But if I did take one, I'm going to use him as much as I possibly can, and then I'll find another running back. I can find running backs, and I don't.
Dude, we're in the same boat on that one. I tell everybody, I'm like, I would never pay a running back. Why would you pay running back? Just go get another one. I mean, look at what the Ravens are doing. I mean, they have great running backs. Don't get me wrong, but all those guys got hurt. Like, the Ravens season's over. Well, let's beat the Chiefs. And they were running the football. I know Lamar was a big part of that, but, dude, you can find anybody run the ball.
I did think.
That's a little harsh. Daniel's going to be pissed that I said that, but you really can.
I did think of you last night as I'm watching Davis Mills, a rookie starting for the Texans, and he was going for your record of, I think you were sacked 6 times in your debut. Did that bring back painful memories for you?
Yeah, it did. The same jerseys, same stadium, different name, but it's like, and you just knew schematically, like kind of what we talked about earlier, they were going to bring a ton of different looks, and you just hoped that the coaching staff would just give them some answers. And to their credit, early on, like in the first 2 series, they were trying to get the ball out of his hand as fast as possible. Then they realized they weren't even going to get a first down. I think I looked up at one point, and I think they had 14 plays, and the Panthers had 14 first downs. So it's like, okay, now we got to kind of try to do something here. So let's maybe step on the gas, but it's not a great situation for Davis. I actually like Davis out of school, and I think that if he would have maybe stayed another year, he made it a first round pick. But he's just in a tough situation. It's not going to be good.
Yeah, and I don't know what goes through your mind, because here you are making your NFL debut, and you got your friends and family, and everybody's watching, and then you go out there and you're like, oh my God.
You have to know though. Like, I guess I didn't, because we beat the Cowboys the first game, and we're like, oh, this is easy. And then we go to San Diego, play the Chargers, and Junior Seau's in the A gap hits me 100 times, and I'm like, oh, maybe it's not so easy. So, like, you think you would know, but you have to kind of. I had 20 years, so I have that luxury.
Who was the guy though that you just, when you saw him, you knew this isn't going to work out well for me?
It was that. Okay, I take it back. It was Junior Seau in that game, but fortunately we didn't play them as much after that. But really, for me, it was Dwight Freeney, because honestly, I can say this now, we had no shot of beating those guys. When the Colts were rolling, we would go to Indy, and my dad came to a game, and he said, that's the last road game I'm ever going to. I'm like, Dad, why would you pick Indianapolis to come to, like, the worst possible scenario? It's like, they're going to be up 21-0. It's literally going to be a blitz fest. I remember the very first play of the game, we played Indy. They're already up 7-0, of course. We get the ball. I snap the ball. My left tackle does not even get out of his stance. You can probably go on YouTube and find this. He doesn't even move out of his stance. Dwight Freeney hits me in the back of the head. Ball flies out. Fumble. 14-0. It's just like, we didn't have a chance to play those guys. So Dwight Freeney is the bane of my existence for a long time.
How often do you think each week you have to or you feel like you need to defend your brother maybe not anymore, but was it a weekly process, a daily process where you had to sort of, do you stick up for your brother?
Yeah, dude, it's like, to him, I would never stick up to him. I'm always kind of like going to be hard on him and whatnot, but it's like, that's my job as a big brother. But like, up until this year, it really was to the point of like, I don't know how else to say this. Like, just look at the numbers, look what he does. The problem was their defense was terrible. That's just what it was. Like, so they would never get enough possessions to be able to do, or they'd never get a stop in key situations. They'd be like, okay, we're right there, and then, blown coverage. Beat Kansas City last year the first time, second time about to beat them again, blown coverage, touchdown, Travis Kelce wide open. Like, what's happening? So this year we get to this situation we're in now, and now all of a sudden he's a good player, and people are trying to figure out, well, what happened between 2016 and right now. I'm like, well, nothing. He's just been steadily getting better. You just look at the numbers, look at him in John's system. They've been on the rise, but their defense was ranked 30th or whatever they were last year. So just be, Gruden talked about this. I was out there for training camp, and we were just he's like, Dave, all we have to do is just give me, of course he says me, give me 2 more possessions, with the football, and we'll be fine. And I'm like, I guess if you look big picture, that's probably right. And then you look at what they did against the Ravens, strip sack in overtime, 1 extra possession, touchdown. Steelers, same thing, 1 extra possession, big play, Henry Ruggs, touchdown off the fumble. So you're like, okay, I guess it makes sense. And then if you look over the big picture throughout the entire season, that's going to add, how many wins is that going to add? I guess we'll find out at the end. But offensively, they've been there. Like, since Darren Waller's been there and Gruden and those guys, and they have that type of big-time matchup guy. All these other guys, Hunter Renfrow, starting to step up. Ruggs is making more plays down the field. Brian Edwards, they're going to be fine on offense. It's really been defense. And Max Crosby has played fantastic. Yannick Ngakoue another guy battled through a hamstring injury to play against. The Steelers this last week put some pressure on the quarterback. Back end's making some plays. Casey Hayward hasn't even given up a completed pass on him this year. So, I mean, what else do you want? They got a chance now.
Okay, I want you to play the role of Tom Brady, and you're facing this Rams defense. What are you gonna try to take advantage of?
So I went back and watched this game from them last year, Week 11, yesterday, just to kind of refresh my memory on what happened, how they, what went wrong for the Bucs, and it was really as easy as Aaron Donald. They were not able to consistently run the football and put enough pressure on them to not just play the pass. And Aaron and those guys just pushed the pocket back in Brady's lap, and he made a couple bad throws, and that was the difference. I mean, Jared Goff threw the ball 50-something times in that game. Matt Stafford is clearly capable of doing the same thing. Cooper Kupp had a huge day last year. He's going to have another one in L.A. I don't think that there's going to be anything different from a Rams standpoint on what they want to do. They pretty much did what they wanted to. They didn't even really try to run the football because even when you do play Tampa Bay, a lot of people just don't even attempt it because they're just solid up front, so fast and physical, very gap sound, difficult. But you can spread them out and throw the ball. I think Matt Stafford can do that. But from a Buccaneers standpoint, I really think that they have to try to do some things to slow him down, whether it be like these little trap passes, not necessarily RPOs, but some type of play action, some type of make it look like run. Because if you just drop back, Aaron Donald, I don't care how good your offense line is, he's going to push back on that and make it difficult. Because Brady, if he's at this point, if he does have a weakness, he's going to be 7 yards deep behind the center. I mean, that's just it. It's at the end of the day, and good defenses know that, and they can push the pocket there, and he's not going to be outside the pocket doing anything fancy. So I think that's really what it comes down to in this game, is trying to slow down that push by Aaron Donald on the inside, really, not the outside guys. Brady's stepped up and used pocket presence forever to get away from those guys, but it's the inside push that created some bad throws. I think it comes down to that.
It's great to talk to you as always, David. Have a great weekend. Thanks for joining us.
You too, buddy. All right, man. Have a good day.
That's David Carr, NFL Network analyst. Some good stuff there.